Have gold and silver turned a page, opened a new door, decided it's time to act a little differently? Did you see what happened yesterday? The Federal Reserve raised rates, did what everybody expected they would do. Initially, the price of gold and silver kind of crashed, but it came roaring back and finished strong. So did the precious metal mining stocks. Is the world starting to wake up? I have some strong ideas that I want to share with you as to why we very well may have entered a new era for the price of the precious metals, and this is based on history. It's very interesting. I want to share it with you, share with you what I see, and I want to hear from you what you think. We got a lot to cover. Let's get started right now. Before we get into this fascinating analysis about what very well may have happened specifically regarding gold and silver, let's talk about what the Fed did. They raised rates by 0.75%, which is what everyone expected. The market, I think, had priced like an 80% chance of that happening. So that was not surprised. That was already baked into the price of the precious metals, and in theory should have been baked into the general markets. What did surprise was that the Fed's projections for the future of rate hikes were a little more hawkish than was anticipated. That sent the general markets crumbling and should have sent the precious metals crumbling, but something very interesting happened. Silver, gold made a huge comeback by the end of the day, and the precious metal mining stocks also performed well. But why? What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what I think's going on. The Federal Reserve has pretty much now said and set the table that we are going to have a recession. Powell, the guy has to be as optimistic as possible, and he's talking about recession. To me, that means there's no way around it in his eyes, and he knows a lot more than he's letting on. We're headed to a recession, and the market is waking up to that. Now, the key here is this. Are we going to continue to have inflation? Most experts think that we will, and if that's the case, that spells stagflation, and you've heard me say it a zillion times, and you're going to start to hear the rest of the people talk about it a zillion more times, and that's going to be a zillion billion times good for the price of the precious metals. And what we saw yesterday, I think, is the beginning of the market starting to realize that we are heading into stagflation. We are pretty much definitely going to have a recession. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, and Jerome Powell doesn't have a crystal ball, but when they are saying things that the language he's using, the way he's communicating, we are going into recession. If they can't get inflation under control, right, to this 2%, which is, most people think that's darn near impossible without going into something worse than a recession, we're going to have this stagflation. Even if they are able to control it, they're not going to get it all the way down. And if they send us into a recession period at some point, that means they have to reverse course with a more easy money policy. Heck, I had predicted that Lael Brainerd would be taking Powell's place by September or October. I was wrong about that, but I still think there's a strong chance that as Powell crashes the economy, that eventually President Biden will fire Powell and put Brainerd in there, and at her roots, right? Like Powell at his roots, he's a aggressive monetary guy. Brainerd is a MMT type person, a money printer, and that will be good for the price of the precious metals. We've even got like Elizabeth Warren now coming out and throwing a fit and saying, oh, Powell's going to put people out of work and blah, blah, blah. Guys, we are at the very beginning stages, I think, most likely, of what could be a big rally for the price of the precious metals. We'll see how this all plays out. I appreciate you joining me here in Ron's Basement. You know that you are always welcome here. You're the most important part of Ron's Basement. You can subscribe right here If you want to give the video a thumbs up, that's very, very helpful. Share the video with anybody you like. And don't forget, leave a comment in the comment section below because we do want to hear from you.